Hello from here. We are in Portland, Oregon, staying in a tiny home. We chose to stay in this one because it has some of the layout and features in the Hazel unit that we really love, that we plan to build when we get to Australia. So come on in and let's chat about the pros and cons we found in this layout. Upon entering the tiny home, the first little con that we discovered was we're kind of not sure where to put our things. So there's a basket here. We could probably put our shoes in there, but that seems kind of dirty. But anyway, so we just ended up hanging our stuff on the ladders, which works. But that's something that we just are keeping in mind for when we build our tiny home, is definitely some storage space and kind of something when you first come in where you can hang your clothes and shoes. So that's something we've thought of straight away. One thing we love about this layout and in this tiny home is just the high ceilings and actually the white walls. I didn't think I'd like white walls so much, but in a tiny home it really helps brighten up and make the space feel even bigger than it is. So we really just like walking into the living space. That's nice. So the kitchen in this unit is most similar to the unit that we'd be looking to build in Australia, so that's the reason why we stayed here. This U-shape layout here with the fridge and the induction hob on the right. One thing that I actually was surprised about is I like cooking with gas hobs, but the induction had me thinking that maybe that might be a good idea. I think it might help keep the space cooler because things tend to heat up and boil faster. So just something to keep in mind, I guess, that we've learned from this stay for our build. This unit doesn't have like a proper oven, which is something I definitely would need. So toaster oven does take up a lot of the counter space in this unit, so I would want a proper oven. It does have space for a full-size fridge in here though, which is really nice. And enough head clearance where it's comfortable for me. I'm 5'10", so this kitchen feels very spacious for me. But my partner is 6'5", so that's the biggest challenge we have, is just finding a tiny home that works for him too, but he was actually okay in here too. Walking around, I thought maybe like these lights would like burn his scalp as he walked past them because they're just like right off of his head. But he said it felt fine for him in here too. So if you're 6'5", you can still live in a tiny home. This kitchen has a huge sink, which is actually, I really loved. I do tend to like the split sinks with two, but this one was really nice as well. Yeah, I just like this space. One thing that, and the drawers are great. Lots of storage here for general kitchen needs, but one thing I definitely need is some sort of pull-out pantry. So like, if I was redesigning this, I would, bump over the oven or the stove a bit and then put out some sort of like pull-out pantry situation next to the fridge. Then that would have been perfect. Walking over to the other side of the tiny house is where the bathroom is, and we loved the space in this bathroom. Pretty much standard full-size bath and stand-up shower. Again, I'm 5'10", I had to find time in here. I don't know if you're 6'5", how that was, but sounds like it went okay. Yeah, so full flushing toilet, and then a con that we found is there's really no place to hang stuff in here either, so we just kind of hung the towel on the mirror and there is space to hang your towels after the shower on this rail, but that is also meant for clothes hanging, it looks like, because it's right by the washer dryer. So yeah, so we kind of struggled again. A common problem in tinies is moisture in the bathroom, and we did discover firsthand kind of what that feels like. Our bath towels had a hard time drying overnight, so definitely something to keep in mind going forward when we build our tiny. Now to the sleeping loft. So this, I feel, is a pretty common layout for a lot of tinies, is the living space, kitchen, bathroom on the lower level, and then your little lofted spaces on the top. So we see that time and time again. And my partner and I haven't really properly stayed in a loft quite this small before. I can see, to be fair, I see the benefits of lofts because it gives you that kind of normal living space on the ground floor with head clearance and everything like that. But the lofts we've discovered are just not for us. And come up here and we'll kind of see the space that we're working with here. Again, I'm 5'10", and I had, a somewhat, okay time getting in here. I don't think, the bed's a mess because I don't think I'm physically capable of making it. Maybe if I did like Ashtanga yoga for 10 years and I was able to use my feet the same way I could use my fingers, I could make the bed, but it's a bit tight up here. And I would especially say if you're someone prone to dramatic dreams in which you awake suddenly in the night, it'd be something to keep in mind. Although you'd probably just clock yourself right back out anyway. So that may actually be favorable. But again, the loft space is just not quite something that we are looking for in our tiny home. Perhaps a loft space where you could properly sit up and read would be something that we would consider for like a guest loft. And also clothing storage is something that we found was lacking in this unit. And again, that's probably just it. This unit was great for a weekend stay. You're not going to need that much space. You're going to have your suitcase. It worked great for that. But we are looking at it as what we would want for long-term needs in living in a tiny. So that's definitely something we would want in our bedroom area, regardless of if it's a loft or not. That was our stay in this tiny home in Portland. If you're ever in the Portland, Oregon area and you'd like to stay in a tiny home, I'll put the link to this Airbnb listing in the description below. Also, if you're interested in checking out the design plan that we really love, it's from a builder in New Zealand called Shay's Tiny Homes, and I'll put a link to her website in the description below as well. If you do happen to stay in this tiny home in Portland, we highly recommend walking 5 minutes down the road and going to Just Bob's Cafe. They do some great coffee and Belgian waffles, even if you're gluten-free. Goodbye from here.